Welcome back, friends. In this video, we'll be showing you how to use the Roto Brush in After Effects. The Roto Brush is an essential tool for isolating elements and separating them from a background. This is one of those tools a video editor really can't go without. Masks. Roto Brush laughs in the face of masks. Instead of painstakingly shaping every line, every corner, every angle, this tool does most of the heavy lifting for us, and with great precision. So let's get right into it and learn this thing. We have our clip on the timeline, and the intent is to separate Lil Durk here from the background. We'll begin by selecting the spot where we want to begin roto brushing. I think right here is probably good. We'll hit the button for the Roto Brush tool up here and we are good to go. Double-click on the layer with the footage and a new tab will open. This will be our work area. For demonstration, this is how a Roto Brushed frame should look. This button will toggle between the pink outlines and regular alpha background. You can also switch from black to transparent. Both black and transparent are good for detecting edges and flaws when cleaning up your roto. But first things first, the pink outlines will make it easier to begin shaping our roto. So we'll start in that mode. We can brush by simply clicking and dragging our mouse over the subject. Roto Brush will detect the edges automatically. To make the brush bigger or smaller, simply hold Control on your keyboard and drag your mouse left or right. As you can see when selecting the subject, AE sometimes lets the selection slip off our subject. By holding the Alt button, this unwanted selection can be removed. Hold Alt and brush along the excesses until only the subject is selected. This really is what it all comes down to when roto brushing. Selecting and removing parts of a selection until you have the entirety of your subject neatly outlined. Because we're still on the first frame, I will change the resolution to full. It will make roto brushing somewhat easier. Don't change resolutions halfway through the process though. You'll risk your work getting jumbled due to the changes in contrast and quality. If your system doesn't fare well under full resolution, it'll be best to just stick to half or quarter resolution. I'll show you another way to simplify the process. As you can see, AE has a bit of a hard time recognizing that this area should be separate from our subject, likely because the contrast isn't high enough. To make life easier on us, we can head into Effects and Presets, type Lumetri, and drag the Lumetri color effect onto our layer. Inside Effect Controls under Curves, we can play around with the RGB curves somewhat to make the contrast between areas more noticeable. This will assist the program in picking up the correct outlines. Don't worry, we'll remove the effect as soon as the subject is isolated. Make sure Lumetri is above Roto Brush in the effects chain, and let's see if we have more luck with our troublemaker. Perfect. Some things have a transparent texture, like sections of someone's haircut, for instance. A hard line, like from our regular brush, would not be suited for such areas. Fortunately, After Effects has a tool specifically for these cases as well. Just hold the Roto Brush button and select the Refine Edge tool, or simply click Alt and W to toggle between brushes. Select the sections that contain transparency by brushing along them. As you can see, the area covered is displayed in black and white now. A general tip is to be sure to be as precise as you can on the first frame, so that the frames after that generally retain the correct properties. We are going to work through them frame for frame, but it never hurts to have a solid foundation. With the first frame done, we can choose to either hit play and let AE Roto Brush the rest automatically, or work the frames manually. We are going with manual because with subjects that are more complicated than a simple shape, AE is going to mess up guaranteed. Let's skip ahead one frame by pressing page down and see what we've got. AE has retained the outline pretty well, but there are some spots that have to be redone manually. We'll touch up every frame as we go. With more complex shapes like these, the process can be a little time-consuming, but it's not that hard and it pays off in the end. Just put on a podcast or something. We'll move from frame to frame, touching up the lines with the brush tools. We'll only do the frames we need, no more than necessary. Once that's done, we'll want to clean up the edges of the subject somewhat. Toggle the Alpha Boundary Grid button or simply go to the tab for our main composition so we can inspect the subject for flaws. Oftentimes, there is a light source that will put a bit of an off-color edge to your subject. Under Roto Brush in the Effect Controls panel, We can manipulate the edges of our subject, or matte, under the Roto Brush Matte tab. I usually soften the edges somewhat through upping the feather parameter. To remove the light on the edges, we'll take the Shift Edge parameter and bring that all the way down into the negatives. This will get rid of those ugly edges for us. Now that we have all frames set, we are going to lock it down. We'll duplicate our layer by pressing Ctrl+D. This will be our background layer. We'll reduce our clip size to coincide with our roto brushed work so that AE only locks down the frames we have edited. If you've done this already, you're good, skip this step. We'll hit the freeze button and AE will proceed to freeze all our roto brushed frames. This simply means that for as long as it's frozen, you can't change any of the frames accidentally or on purpose. If you wish to make further adjustments at a later point though, you can just unfreeze and hit freeze again when you're done. Let's remove Lumetri from our subject and delete all the effects from our new layer. When we go into the Comp tab, we'll have our subject offset against our background. When we disable visibility on the background, we'll get a nice cutout of our subject. As you can see, the Refine Edge tool has kept the hairline sections nice and transparent. With our separated layers, we can create all sorts of cool effects. For instance, selecting the Type tool, creating a text layer and putting it between our subject and background, we are able to create cool, integrated text effects like these. And with that, we've tackled the mythical Roto Brush, a necessary evil for achieving some very cool effects. We'll get in the cool stuff on the next vid, so definitely stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe for more vids like this, and as always, catch you all on the next one.